What's up, Facebook fam? So I was wondering if you could please give me a hand. Maybe about 2 months ago now, my son and I, Noah, we had started like a 60-day challenge, right? And like 2 weeks into it, we were totally killing it, doing it awesome. And the next thing you know, he has a tournament that he has to get ready for, right? So we totally throw 1 week to the side, get ready for the tournament. We both come back from the tournament, and on that Sunday night, he totally starts coughing. I started coughing. The following morning, totally woke up. My head's hurting, body aches, and we're like, dude, we're gonna get sick. So let's just lay low, right? So we ended up doing that, and we lost 2 weeks total, right? So now we only got 30 days left, okay? At like that third. So now that we're at that 30-day mark, mind you, in the very beginning of this whole thing, I was telling him, and for anyone that knows me that long, that I've basically spent, I don't even know how long. It's basically like over 300 pounds, right? Starting since I was a kid. And I let him know in the very, very beginning of this thing, like just how proud of him I was, because here he is at 12 years old, and he's literally, crushing and fighting the same, or the very same thing that I did, or that I was fighting with growing up. And here he is, taking it on head on and actually doing phenomenal for himself. And so, maybe as a dad, it would help me, maybe just, keep my promise to my son and to support him, and to do good for him. And so I figured no better way than to maybe just get out there and find a way to keep myself accountable, right? So if I can actually just put this out there, not only would it just maybe help me commit to the promise that I made to support him as his dad, at the same time, it'll probably help me get my cheeks into shape, right? If this, or if anyone that wants to improve their health, or maybe if you're trying to improve your own health, maybe this would help you, or maybe even inspire you, or something. I don't know. But at the same time, I just had to get kind of like this off my chest, And so, anyways, what I'll do is I'll probably end up, showing or sharing, what we're doing, and hopefully it serves you well. All right, cheers. And so what you're about to learn is how to program your body for exercise without a lot of work in a short amount of time, even if you've never stepped foot in the gym. We're going to cover the double dip that drives down our blood sugars and helps us tighten up any extra love that we want to get rid of. You're going to learn the secret to accelerating your results by literally taking it easy and not having to rely on motivation. And by the end of this video, you'll definitely see how I lifted 22,050 pounds rehabbing myself without breaking a sweat, and how you can get phenomenal, if not even better results yourself. So what we're going to cover is what I believe is hands down one of the greatest equalizers when it comes to diabetics, okay? And what it is, it's the high and low method. And what we do is we get a huge compounding effect without spending a lot of time in the gym or really getting all that banged up. And it's hands down one of the best exercises for diabetics because of this double dip. Now, what the high and low method is that it's high reps with low weight. And the beautiful thing about it is that it works for all fitness levels, whether you're a beginner, you're an advanced, using it, right, for like motor engrams, or even if you're like someone like myself. So to put things in perspective, I was never the type to go to a gym. In fact, I always stayed away from the gym. I only went in high school and in college because I had to do it to get a grade, right? But other than that, I completely avoided the gym and never stepped foot in one up until about 1.5 years, close to 2 years ago. And what you're going to learn not only took me from, like, let's say for example, my bench press, right? It literally went from zero, okay, I went from zero to benching 225 pounds 25 times, right? So for 25 reps, and that's nothing fancy, nothing special. I just use your basic, 5 sets of 5 protocol here, as we'll definitely cover in a little bit. But yes, know that for me, I actually tore, doing something completely unrelated, I tore my right shoulder, then my left shoulder, and just as early as 6 months ago, if you were to put just the bar on my chest, I wouldn't be able to lift it. And so if you're anything like me watching this, just know that I am literally at square one. Now, here's why this works so well, okay? And what it is, it's the double dip. So as you can see, we're doing resistance training. Now, obviously, if you were to go online and look at all the, freight train of benefits as to why, resistance training is so good for us, they're awesome, okay? But even if we were to throw 100% of them out the window, the biggest things for diabetics specifically is that, one, we are burning the glycogen, okay? We're burning the glucose, we're burning the glycogen, we're burning these simple sugars or the fuel that's already stored in our muscle cells without a lot of high impact or even a lot of hard work, okay? And so what we're doing is we're burning it out of our muscle, and what we're also doing is we're activating a hormone by the name of GLUT4. Now what GLUT4 is, it's a hormone that typically sits on our fat cells, okay? And when we activate it, it swings over to the muscle cells, opens up like a funnel, and literally starts pulling the blood sugar out of our blood, or the sugar rather, out of our blood, and then starts packing it into the cells for us to continue using or to replenish what was just used. Now, imagine when we're working here, right? So whenever you work out, naturally your blood circulates, and what's happening there is that this GLUT4 now acts like a vacuum, and it's sucking and pulling. The more that your blood is cycling through, it's sucking and pulling the sugar out of your blood to now pack it into our muscles. Now, the second reason why, and the secret of it all, right? The secret of this whole thing is this thing called a motor engram. And the easiest way that I can explain it is if you've ever seen the movie Karate Kid, right? The original Karate Kid, where Daniel's son, right? Daniel LaRusso, he does all these different things for Mr. Miyagi. He's like painting the fence, painting the house, and then washing the cars and sanding the floors. And there's a scene where Danielson's about to take off on Mr. Miyagi, right? And Mr. Miyagi catches him in the backyard, throws everything minus the kitchen sink at him. Under the stress, Daniel doesn't know what to do, and all of a sudden just starts whipping out all these karate moves, not knowing where they came from. Well, that muscle memory is a motor engram, okay? So here's the secret to it all, okay? As you can see, all we're doing is, it's not a lot of weight, right? So all we're doing is we're just going through the motions, and we're simply focusing on form. That's it, okay? And the beautiful thing about it is that there's no fear of having to, not being able to lift or being, shaky under the bar. In fact, if you're anything like me, you've tried lifting a lot of weights, or you're scared to lift weights. Why? Because next thing you know, when you go to try, you're shaking, and before you know it, you're breakdancing under the bar, right? So there's a couple things there. Number one, we shouldn't be, throwing ourselves face first into something like that, because that's clearly the fastest way to get injured, right? And if you're anything like me, you're probably not 20 anymore, so you're probably not going to bounce back like you used to, whether, if like you were like a teenager again, right? And the second reason is when our arms and our legs are going noodles, or they're going haywire under that weight, here's what's happening, okay? That is literally our nervous system spazzing out, trying to tell us, get us out of here. Like, it doesn't know what to do. And the easiest way I can explain that is kind of like this, right? So back when I was in high school, there were like these restaurants across the street from the school, and if you went across the field, there was only one way to get there because the field was gated and it only had one door to get in and out, right? So what would happen is that the school would let out for lunch, and all these kids would walk across the field to get to that one gate to cross the street, eat lunch, and then go back to school, right? So over time, what would happen is that these paths where the kids were walking would start to ingrain themselves into the grass, right? And the next thing you know, there'd be like a path straight from the classrooms straight across to the to the exit, so these kids can go ahead and take lunch. Now, that's exactly what we're doing with our nervous system. So when we go to increase our weight, when we go to increase the rep count, right, our body and our nervous system knows how to fire correctly. Now, the easiest way to find this on the net, if you wanted to look around, is if you ever look at like powerlifting, right? They have these different weight classes. And some of these weight classes are like the straw weight class, right? Where these guys get in there and you're like, man, like, you have someone who looks like a string bean, right? And they're lifting all this crazy weight. And you're wondering, like, how do these people do it, right? Like, that is so crazy. So, for example, if you're looking at the young lady here, what's happening is that by the time she goes under that weight, under that load, her nervous system knows how to complete the rep. Why? Because it's been programmed, hardwired, and taught to do so from the very beginning. Now, the cool thing is this doesn't apply. The more that you actually look online, this doesn't just apply to young athletes. In fact, here are some grandmas, right? Here are a bunch of grandmas. If you look at the lady in the upper left, she is clearly in her 70s. The lady on the right, if I had to guess, she's probably in her mid-60s. The lady here on the bottom, she is Sue Spencer. In fact, if you probably saw her on the street, you probably swear she makes the best cookies. And she probably does. In fact, if you're on Facebook right now, you can look her up. She goes by Beast Mode Grandma, and a Canadian website did an article on her. This lady, okay, to put things in perspective, just how powerful this stuff is, this lady can bench press, I think, over 125. She deadlifts over 165, and she leg presses 700 plus pounds. Like, look at her. She looks like an absolute sweetheart, right? So the other thing there is you might be thinking, well, you know, what if I'm not a grandma? Perfect example. Okay, here, let me give you another example. So this gentleman here, this is my father. And about a year and a half ago, he had to undergo spinal surgery, okay, to the point where he lost about 90% of the use in his hands. In fact, he struggled just to pick up anything that was more than a pound, right? At that time, he struggled to pick up anything more that was a pound. So you see the machines that we're working on, right? If anyone of that sort literally wanted to walk in there, if my dad wanted to walk in there and do these same exercises, all he would do is walk up to the machine, okay? Now these machines, they have like little knobs and little like a pin that you can slide up and down for the weight, right? All he would have to do is pull the pin and leave it. And now he would be able to do that exact exercise with anything from like, anywhere from 2 to 6 pounds of resistance. Okay, so if you can pick up a kitten, if you can pick up a puppy, wonderful, right? You're probably miles ahead of where my father started. Okay, now the best part about that is that some of these machines, like the ones behind us in this video, they actually also start at anywhere from like 3 to 8 pounds. Now, naturally, there's going to be some machines that start at like 15 and 20 pounds, right? Like nobody's a moron here. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. Just avoid those machines for now and then work your way up. Now, here's how to accelerate your progress with very little work. Okay, it's very counterintuitive, and I definitely want to give credit where credit is due, as you'll see here in a second. So all you have to do, and the secret to making this happen, is literally start at 80%. Okay, you want to stop at 80%, and here's why. All right, so typically what happens on our first time to the gym, or even like within our first week, or anything of that nature, okay, we typically try to go like Rocky IV, or we feel that we have to like muscle our way through and force fudge our way through this workout. And I'll actually show you how and why that is not the way to go, and how and why it can be so counterintuitive to take the other approach. So let's break that down. Whenever we go in and we just try to solve world peace in a single workout, what happens, right? Whenever depending on how hard you throw yourself at the gym, within those first couple of sessions, or whether you even be down the road, okay? Usually it takes anywhere from like 4 days to 2 weeks to come back, right? And sometimes, God forbid you tear something like I did and you're out for a couple of months. But even when you do come back, depending on how hard you threw yourself at the gym the first time, here's what happens. You either find yourself in one of 3 places, okay? Either you come in and you can't do it you can't follow the same intensity, you can't do it as hard as you could, right, that you did the last time, or you come back and you do it just the same, right? Or maybe there's a very small and incremental gain, okay? What you'll find is that when you actually slow down and you stop before you beat yourself up so far, what happens is that since you're able to come back into the gym, you can now come back, do the same exercise, and literally throw on like another pound, 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, take it easy, and then stop again. Why? Because that consistency, that constant and consistent growth, okay, will always, especially when you're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, will outpace trying to, do like a Rocky IV or force your body to do something that it doesn't, okay? And one of the simplest ways that I ever learned this, or that I can ever share it, is, like home runs might look good, but consistent and constant base hits is how you win the game. And just to let you know, that is literally, okay, this is it's a two-step thing. So this is step one of how I personally went from never stepping foot in a gym, aside from high school and college because I had to do it for a grade, and going from 0 on my bench press to 225 pounds 25 times. And to be totally honest, I'm not a bodybuilder guy. Like I'm not bodybuilder guy, powerlifting guy. I'm none of that stuff. All I really want to do is be there for my kids and my wife and my kids for the long haul. That's it. And enjoy myself physically whenever I want to, right? That's about it. Now let me give you a super awesome bonus secret. So, and this one actually comes from the pros, and you'll see it in all elite circles, anything from like football to baseball, even like basketball and powerlifting and like mixed martial arts or even CrossFit, right? So a lot of times you'll see these elite athletes and they'll come in and they'll do a crazy workout. Okay, let's say CrossFit, for example. They'll come in there, they'll do some crazy workout, and then next thing you know, while their body is still sore, they come back in and they'll do the same workout, the same exercises, if you will, in the next day or two. Like, why do they do that, right? The difference there is that they don't do it the same way. What they're doing is they'll do it again, but they'll do it extremely light, okay? And they'll usually do it very, very slow. Now, here's why. Whenever we get sore, as you probably know, what's happening there, right? What's happening when we get sore? We're sore because we literally took the muscle cell or the muscle tissue, right? We tore it. And then whenever we build muscle, right, so we tear the muscle, it grows back, we tear it, it grows back, and then as we tear it and it grows back, obviously it gets bigger and bigger, and that's how we build muscle and tighten up, tighten up any extra love that we have on us, right? So at the same time, what these guys are doing, okay, what these folks are doing, right, men and women, what they're doing is when their muscles are sore, when those cells are frayed, if you will, what they're doing is going back into the gym, and they're deepening, they're greasing the groove for that motor engram, right? They're taking that neural pathway, that neurological pathway, and they're just deepening and deepening and deepening that groove the same way that all the high school kids did when we would cut across the field to go out and have something as simple as lunch, right? So in putting everything together, here's how we get huge results with very little work, okay? We're making the most of the compounding effect. Okay, we're doing a real simple countdown of 50, 25, 10, and 5 reps. Okay, and as you probably noticed watching this video, you might be thinking to yourself like, wow, 50 reps? Like, yeah, that's exactly the point because we're going really, really light on the weight. Okay, now if you want to turn up the weight a little bit, hey, look, feel free to do so and just take, a couple of breaks. As you probably noticed in this video, Noah and I were both taking breaks in the middle of our reps. No big deal. Okay, now this countdown, some fitness nerds will be like, hey, that's a reverse pyramid. Look, call it a reverse pyramid, call it a tornado, a cyclone, call it use boxer shorts. It doesn't matter. We're simply just counting down 50, 25, 10, and 5 reps. All right, and all we're doing is we're literally just picking 2 machines or 2 exercises, if you will, that work 2 different muscle groups. Okay, and now some people will say that you need to do your chest and your legs and then your back and your arms and then your forehead and your kneecaps. Look, it doesn't have to be that complicated. The cool thing is, like for this video, Noah and I were literally just walking up the aisle and he just pointed at 2 machines and here we are, okay? Now, let's go over the results. Okay, let's go over the numbers. Now, my chest press, it's only 45 pounds, right? Like, just so you know, and some of you might be thinking like, that's barely the weight of the bar. Like, that's exactly the point, okay? But since we're doing 50, 25, 10, and 5 reps, okay, that's a total of 90 reps, okay? So if we're doing 45 pounds times 90 reps, that gives us 4,050 pounds lifted on that single exercise, okay? 4,050 pounds on that single exercise. Now look at my shoulder press. It's only 30 pounds, right? Like, I'm not trying to solve world peace here, right? But at the same time, 50, 25, 10, and 5 reps, 30 pounds times 90 reps is 2,700 pounds. And to prove and to show you just how simple this is, look at this guy, right? Isn't he adorable? Look at that baby, right? Look at his eyes. What are you going to do? So this guy probably, if we had to guess, probably weighs somewhere between like, say, 6 and 8 pounds, maybe 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds. Let's just say he weighs 10, okay? If you got in a shoulder press position, which is almost like a push-up position, right? And you basically launch this kid straight up, what would happen? This guy would go flying in the air, right? Like, God bless the kid, right? He'd go flying high. Like, he'd probably go like, like 5 feet over you or something like that easily, right? If you got in that position and you literally just launched with all the might that you have. Well, the cool thing is if he's only 10 pounds, and if you only did it with 10 pounds, okay, 10 pounds times 90 reps is 900 pounds. That's almost 1,000 pounds. And the coolest thing about it is there's a bunch of grandmas and nannies out there who probably do that every single day and don't even complain. Now, let's finish up. So, compounded results. My lat pull downs, right? Basically like the poor man's pull up, if you will. You saw how much I weigh. This is not even half my weight. It's closer to a third, right? So 50, 25, 10, and 5. 85 pounds times 90 reps gives us 7,650 pounds. So 85 pounds times 90 reps gives us 7,650 pounds lifted on this one single exercise. I did the same thing with the chest flies, right? So that gave us another 7,650. So when you add everything up, okay, the chest press at 4,050, shoulder press at 2,700, the lat pull downs and the chest flies, the lat pull downs and the chest flies both at 7,650 pounds each. That gives us a total weight lifted of 22,050 pounds. The best part about it is that the actual workout part only took about 30 minutes, right? By now, you've probably seen how Noah and I are just kind of like standing around a lot and like taking breaks and stuff. Like, nobody said you had to get super crazy or aggressive in applying all of this stuff. And because we switched muscle groups on each exercise, every single round just got easier and easier. In fact, by the time I was like at the 5 rep range, right, it was absolute cake. Why? Because the weight was so low. And if you want to be fancy, right, go ahead and turn up the weight. Feel free to do so. Now, by no means am I trying to say or show off or anything like that and say that I'm some wannabe internet know-it-all, right? Like, I hate those guys, right? So I definitely want to stop and, unlike a lot of those guys, give credit where credit is due, okay? Because the absolute truth of the matter is I'm really just eliminating all the headaches and the failures by modeling peak performers. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to 3 people in particular, Elliot Hulse, Tim Ferriss, and last but not least, Pavel Tatsulin. When you look up the stopping at 80% and the greasing of the groove and the escalating of your results, the last 2 gentlemen there on the end is really where, and actually Pavel really is like 80% of it. Okay, so if you want to look them up, awesome resource. By all means, hey, you know what? Like, thank you so much for being cool enough to even watch this. I hope this helps you out. If you want any reference material or case study information on all the different things that I showed there, feel free to friend me or message me and let me know if I can help you with any way. And in the next video, we'll definitely learn how to trigger fat burn, increase your glucose metabolism, and improve your insulin sensitivity up to 25% with only 4 minutes of exercise. All right, so I hope this serves you well. I'm so humbled if you even made it this far. You know what I mean? To be totally honest, I just kind of started doing this, and the more that I came up with ideas, I literally just put them all down and just kind of took action on it. So sorry if it's way too long or anything of that nature, but you know what? At the end of the day, if you did watch this to the end, I'm 100% humbled because I sincerely believe that together that we'll support each other and beat this disease. Hey, thank you so much. God bless you. Take care. Cheers. It's officially day 1. Gosh, bud.